My mother is the youngest of 3 sisters, and the oldest was 12 when she was born, and in a sense raised her, had a lot of responsibility as the oldest of 3, with very busy, rabble-rousing parents. And her aspiration was always to be a librarian at the 42nd Street Library in New York City. While she was growing up in the Bronx, that was a really magical place for her. And various circumstances came up, as they do in people's lives, and particularly did then, one of which is described in this song. And she had to put that off for many years, and it wasn't until her kids were grown that she was able to go back to school and get a bachelor's degree and then a couple of master's degrees and work her way from a branch in Queens downtown. But she eventually did get to be a librarian at the 42nd Street Library before she actually reached retirement age. And then she continued to work there well past the point when most people would have retired. And then many years later, when she was well into her 80s, she took a creative writing class at the senior citizens community where she was living, and what of course they were encouraged to do was write memoir and autobiographical pieces, because you know, we know that older people have a wealth of wisdom and stories, and if we don't get them to write it down, we may never get to hear these things. So she wrote a series of beautiful little, very simple little vignettes about different things that had happened in her life. But this one stood out in particular. It was a little longer than the others, and it was more, instead of a snapshot, it was more like a little movie. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Since I've written this and started performing it, I found a lot of times when I play it, people come up to me afterwards and tell me stories about people in their family who did the same thing under similar circumstances. So this song is called "I Changed My Name to Mary Burke." I was not yet 20, full of dreams and aspirations, when my family turned to me in the Big Depression. With 2 younger sisters still in school, our parents out of work, I changed my name to Mary Burke. I asked around for work in an office or a store. The New York Times help wanted pages offered little more. It seemed no one was looking for a typist or a clerk, so I changed my name to Mary Burke. Well, at Schrafft's they needed waitresses, but everybody knew Schrafft's would never hire you if you were a Jew. I saw my little sister's face so worried and so hurt, and I changed my name to Mary Burke. I filled out an application, looked the boss right in the eye. Every word upon that paper was a lie. Take off your coat and walk around, he ordered with a smirk, when I changed my name to Mary Burke. So for a year I lived a lie, never let it slip. Washed my uniform at night and toiled for nickel tips. I never made a friend at Schrafft's, I kept my mind on work, because I changed my name to Mary Burke. At last a call came from a friend who had a job for me. I felt just like a prisoner who'd finally been set free. And that year became a story Year became a memory like a story I once heard when I changed my name to Mary Burke. Then sometime in the 70s, I met some friends at Shrad's. I often went to lunch there, seldom thought about the past. As we talked of work and politics, I never said a word how I changed my name to Mary Burke. Later, strolling on Fifth Avenue, still tucked in at my waist, was a bright red napkin fluttering, forgotten in my haze. I kept it as a souvenir of those dark days when I changed my name to Mary Burke. When I changed my name to Mary Burke.